a Minecraft movie is available digitally, so now we can pause every frame and uncover everything you probably missed. Hidden cameos, internet memes, real Minecraft mechanics, and even connections to Minecraft legends and dungeons. This movie is packed with secrets. It made over $960 million worldwide, and the sequel is already coming in 2027. But before it arrives, let's break down every Easter egg, reference, and a hidden detail in a Minecraft movie. The movie opens by showing the studios that work on it, but what interests us the most is the new Mojang Studios intro. It's an extended version of the same intro that first appeared in Minecraft Dungeons, and honestly, it looks very fresh and stylish. Then the screen fades to black, and we hear the famous C418 track, the one simply called Minecraft. Daniel Rosenfeld, a German musician and sound engineer better known as C418, wrote the soundtrack for Minecraft at Marcus Persons' request all the way back in 2011. Since then, the soundtrack has become iconic, and even in 2025, the Library of Congress added the album Volume Alpha to the National Recording Registry, recognizing it as having cultural, historical, or aesthetic significance. Unfortunately, Daniel no longer writes music for Minecraft. Right after the track, we see the loading screen of a new world. Every time a player creates or loads a world, they get to see this screen. This shot almost feels like it represents the creation of the movie itself. I point out that the loading screen isn't actually just empty filler, like it often is in games. The colors that appears on it are actually a visualization of a loading and generation of chunks, a 43 by 43 chunk area. These are the initial chunks the game generates for the player. Then we see young Steve with a pickaxe and mining helmet. He's wearing those initial recognizable colors, a light blue top and a dark blue pants. If you play GTA Vice City, you might notice a certain similarity to the protagonist, Tommy Vercetti, because of the way he looks. At one point, Notch said that back in 2009, while developing Minecraft, he was inspired by the GTA series, but later he denied the theory that Steve was Tommy Vercetti, although he did admit there was a subconscious connection, since he is a fan of Vice City. At one point, young Steve says,
"And as a child, I yearned for the mines."
The phrase "as a child I yearned for the mines" is a reference to an old meme that started on Twitter. It all began with an image of miners' children on a train, with the caption "The children yearn for the mines." The meme makes fun of the way adults sometimes romanticize hard labor, as if children are born dreaming not of a happy, carefree childhood, but of a pickaxe and a dark mine. In the movie, this phrase was used almost word for word, and that clearly wasn't a coincidence. They did it on purpose, and the internet and the fans absolutely loved it. It went so far that the cape given out to players in celebration of the movie's premiere was also called Yearn. Then we see an old elderly man coming out of the mine. For some reason, many people believed an internet rumor that his name was Harold Brine, and that this was supposedly a reference to Herobrine. But in reality, that's completely fake. In the credits, his role is listed simply as miner. He keeps stopping Steve from entering the mine because it was unsafe. There is even a sign that says "Absolutely no children allowed." And that's exactly what happened. Steve never managed to become a little miner, so he grew up and started working in an office instead. By the way, even his clothes didn't really change, he was still wearing the same light blue shirt and dark blue pants. He hated that job so much, so he decided to change his life and return to the mine. And if you read the official novel, which came out literally 2 weeks after the movie, you can find out that he returned to the mine after 30 years. Naturally, Steve immediately started digging, and the first thing he found was an orb of dominance. Its appearance is no coincidence. This isn't some magical cube with a pretty glow. It's an artifact that connects 3 different stories from the 3 different projects: Minecraft Dungeons, Minecraft Legends, and now a Minecraft movie. In Dungeons, the orb of dominance is the main source of an archaeologer's power. He was once a simple and weak creature until he found this artifact. It was the orb that turned him into an evil ruler, one who took control of an army of hostile mobs and started a war. The artifact literally twists the mind of its owner, filling them with a desire for control and destruction. It's a power that doesn't just strengthen someone, it consumes their personality. The entire story of Dungeons is basically battle against the influence of this orb. In Legends, the orb appears again, but in different contexts. Here it is used by the piglins, and especially by the seer, who is very similar to Malosha. It helps them create portals, control space, and summon new enemies. In this game, the orb works almost like a kind kind of mana, a source that allows evil to invade the overworld. Here, the orb is not just an artifact, it is a mechanism of invasion, a tool of global evil. From this, we can assume that the current timeline of a Minecraft universe looks something like this. At the very beginning, we have Minecraft Legends, then comes the events of the movie, and after that, Minecraft Dungeons, and finally, at the very end, Minecraft itself. And this is pretty easy to support. The pillagers, or rather the illagers, appear at the very end of Minecraft Legends as a result of the destructive power of evil and the attempt to stand against it. After all, at first, they were just ordinary villagers who wanted to protect their loved ones. In the other games, just like in the movie, the illagers already appear as enemies. In Minecraft Dungeons, the Orb of Dominance was destroyed, even its small fragments, which still carried destructive power. So that means the movie where the orb still exists takes place before Dungeons. But in Minecraft itself, there isn't a single artifact from the other games or from the movie. Still, we can't deny the possibility that all of this could be part of one multiverse, where events happen in parallel and independently from each other. So why didn't the orb enslave Steve's mind? Most likely because of the second artifact he found in the same mine. This is the Earth Crystal. It has symbols from the standard galactic alphabet written on it. If we try to decode them, we get iron, gold, stone, gate, head home. What does it mean? It's unclear. Maybe it's a crafting recipe for this artifact. After Steve found these two things, he combined them and created a third artifact, the Earth Cube. This is what opens the Earth Portal, which teleports you from Earth to the overworld and back. Most likely this works because the power of the Earth Crystal blocks the evil coming from the Orb of Dominance. After that, the portal opens, and you could say this is the second official portal of this shape in the world of Minecraft. The first one is the Nether portal, but its glow is purple. This one is blue. Yes, there were other portals in the story mode games, but they can really be considered canon, just like the portals from the April Fool snapshots. As soon as the Steve enters the world of Minecraft, we can see all the beauty of the overworld. There is a forest biome, the new mountains that appears in update 1.18, what looks to me like badlands, plains, a cherry grove biome, and also farm animals, cows, pigs, sheep, and llamas. I don't think there's much point in breaking down literally every unique block from the movie. Obviously, the production designers tried to make the location feel close to the game, and honestly, they did a pretty good job. But most of the flora that appears in the movie, of course, doesn't exist in Java version of the game. At the very least, waterfalls as a proper feature don't really exist in the game either, unless the world generator happens to create them randomly. There aren't as many friendly mobs in the movie as I would have liked. The first one Steve meets is a bee. Interestingly, you can even make out a smile on its face. Right next to it, you can spot a pink sheep. And funny enough, in this version of the overworld, pink sheep don't seem to be that rare. The thing is, in Minecraft, you can find sheep of different colors while exploring the world, but the pink sheep is considered the rarest one. The chance of finding one is 0.164%. In the movie though, there are quite a lot of them. I also noticed that the sound of the sheep bleeding in the movie isn't the same as it was in the trailer. I don't really understand why they changed it. Then, as Steve starts talking about his houses, we get a closer look at the cow and then a llama. The next shot pretty much confirms that pink sheep aren't exactly the rarest animals in this world. Steve even built his house out of their wool, though maybe he simply made a sheep farm. But then his first night arrived. By the way, this is also the first time we see zombies trying to break down the doors. The sound of them banging on the doors was taken directly from the game. There were probably skeletons outside too, since an angry wolf was standing near the house the next morning. Steve picked up the bone dropped by a skeleton and tamed the wolf. Yes, there are no dogs in the game, despite what many people think. We actually tamed wolves. It was also funny to see the iconic red color appear out of nowhere, just like it does in the game. Though in the movie, the wolf's name also appeared on the collar, and that part was made up. After that, we're shown all kind of builds. First up is a frog, one of the 3 variants. I think this is a reference to Wednesday. There is an internet meme called "It's Wednesday, my dudes." It's one of the most legendary and absurd memes on the internet, and it's still alive today. Back in 2014, someone on Tumblr, yes, that social network used to be pretty popular, posted a picture of a toad with that caption. It didn't get much attention at the time, but in 2015, Jimmy here uploaded this video to Wine.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
From that moment on, the meme took off and every Wednesday became, so to speak, Toad Day. But Wednesday was also a special day for Minecraft players. Until 2025, snapshots for upcoming updates were released every Wednesday. In March 2025, Snapshot Day moved to Tuesday. After that, we see Steve and Dennis building villager statues. In the background, we can also see villager heads carved into the mount site, almost like the presidents on Mount Rushmore. The sequence ends with Steve's amusement park. One interesting detail is a statue of Liberty made from copper blocks, though once again it's shaped like a villager. A little later, we can spot another overworld mob in the same park, pandas, who apparently really enjoy dancing with cows. This dance with pandas might be an interesting reference to another significant role played by Jack Black, of the panda from the animated film Kung Fu Panda. Minecraft does have a playful panda, but it doesn't dance. It only rolls around from time to time. Parrots and Alice are the one that love to dance. At one point, Steve finds a ruined nether portal. According to Minecraft lore, these portals are remnants of a piglin invasion. In Minecraft Legends, the seer created them using the Orb of Dominance, allowing piglins to enter the overworld and try to take it over. The hero fought back and defeated the forces of evil, but the portals remained scattered across the world as a reminder of the invasion. They can also be found in the vanilla game. Inside the chest, Steve finds a flint and steel and uses it to light the nether portal. In the next shot, we see a new dimension, the nether. To be more specific, we're shown a bastion remnant and even a bridge from another fortress. These two structures don't usually generate this close to each other, mainly because of the conflict between piglins and wither skeletons. They don't exactly get along, though things might work differently here. The piglins seem completely shocked. They've never seen Steve before, and most likely they've never seen a human at all. They don't even know what to make of him. Standing in the middle of these ruins is the movie's main antagonist, Malosha. I don't know why the creators choose that name, but it actually comes from the Polish name Małgorzata, and I think this is a perfect time to talk about Malosha. The thing is, neither the movie nor in any other Minecraft media explains how much time has passed since the events of Minecraft Legends. We can only guess whether all of these even take place in the same universe. But Malosha from the movie is almost identical to the seer from Legends. I still believe they're the same character because their goals and plans are identical: to take over the overworld. The seer even survived at the end of the game. Her piglin army was completely defeated, but more importantly, the Orb of Dominance disappeared. I should also mention that during Malgosha's conversation with Steve, she already knew the orb existed and was searching for it. Once she took it from Steve, she created her iconic staff and placed the Orb of Dominance on the top of it. The creators of Legends never really tried to explain the seer's motivation for taking over the overworld. She's evil, and that's simply what evil characters do. This time, the filmmakers gave her a motivation: gold. In other words, the piglin want to conquer the overworld because of its gold deposits. In vanilla Minecraft, modern-day piglins are neutral toward the player as long as they're wearing at least one piece of gold armor. The moment you take it off, they attack. Piglin brutes are the only exception. They'll always attack you. While wearing gold armor, you can even barter with piglins in a very simple way. You throw them a gold ingot, they pick it up, and then they throw back a random item in exchange. So for a comedy aimed at kids, this makes the Valiant's motivation a little obvious. From a lore perspective, probably not. When Dennis escapes the Nether while trying to hide the Earth Crystal, the piglins chase after him. But if they spend too long in the overworld, they begin to zombify. This also happens in the game. The process takes about 30 seconds, and unlike zombie villagers, zombified piglins can be cured. In Legends, the developers allowed piglins to stay in the overworld without the risk of becoming zombies by breathing in netherwort spores. Yes, the same netherwort that grows inside nether fortresses. When Dennis runs into Steve's house to hide the crystal, we can see that Steve really dreamed about the mines. His shelves are filled with different rocks and minerals. What amused me most was the hand-shaped chair and his clothes. He literally wears the same outfit every day. He just owns several copies of it. Dennis completed his mission perfectly and hid the crystal, but when he tossed it out of the bag, the orb separated from the crystal, closing the portal. Then we're introduced to a new character, Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison. The Garbage Man is his nickname, not his profession. He is a former Gamer of the Year from 1989, and judging by the stickers around his store, he's extremely proud of it. Yes, he owns a small store called Game Overworld. It's a play on words because it can be read as either Game Overworld or Game Overworld, just like the name of Minecraft's dimension. Naturally, the store is filled with all kind of gaming-related items, consoles and arcade machines. So let's get started. In the opening shot, we can see several top-table arcade machines on the left, including Frogger, the classic Konami arcade game where a frog has to cross the road. There is also a terrorist video Pinball, which lets you play 7 games. 4 versions of Pinball, Basketball, and 2 versions of Breakout for the 1 or 2 players. On top is Mattel's Intellivision, one of Atari's main competitors in the 80s. At the bottom we can spot a sacred artifact, the Atari Video Computer System, better known as the Atari 2600. Next to it is a Mango X Odyssey 2 box. It was one of the earliest home consoles and the predecessor to the modern gaming industry. Right beside it is a Sega Mega Drive 2. A little further away we can see Space Laser Fight, a handheld electronic game released by Bambino Electronics, a company that was popular in the 80s. There is also a Nintendo box right next to it. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know enough about every old console, so I won't go through all of them and risk saying something wrong. The next shot gives us a wider view of the store. Once again, we can see that Garrett's greatest achievement in life was winning that gaming competition. There is his first place trophy, several other trophies for placing in competitions, and various newspapers and magazine clippings about the event. On the left, we can also see that iconic pink leather jacket. It became so popular that Adidas partnered with the Minecraft movie and released a limited edition version of the jacket, though with their own twist. In the white shot, we can see the game display on the left. Among the games is Overworld, an arcade-style game released for the Atari 2600, where players bounce ball to destroy walls. Next is Gorf, an arcade space shooter that was ported to Atari and other platforms. And of course, there is Defender 2. It was originally released by Williams Electronics in 1981 under the name Stargate, but was later renamed Defender 2. In the game, you control a spaceship and protect humans from being abducted by aliens. Nearby we can see plenty of boomboxes, cassette tapes, old TVs and even more game boxes. I won't name every single one because I don't even recognize most of them. The exceptions are Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, the original Defender and Frogger. In the center of the shot there is a display case containing a Nintendo Game Boy, what appears to be a Game Boy Color, a Game & Watch and a Super Nintendo or SNES. It's easy to recognize from the iconic controllers with the gray buttons and colorful symbols. The camera then pulls back and shows Garrett blowing into a cartridge. Gamers used to do this to cool down the contacts or supposedly clean the dust of them. It didn't always work, but sometimes it did. The next shot only appears for a second. We see a refrigerator with a photo of Garrett when he was younger, another newspaper clipping about his victory, and most importantly, a notice from the bank about loan. We also learned that Garrett lives in a fictional town of Chuglas, Idaho. Funnily enough, the movie's working title was actually Idaho, even though the entire movie was filmed in New Zealand. Garrett's idea of a breakfast of champions is a piece of meat cooked with a gas burner, a glass of protein and of course crushed Oreos. This is one of the movie's product placement. Oreo even released a limited edition version of its cookies with a creeper face on the packaging, but the cookies were still round instead of a square, which in my humble opinion was a huge missed opportunity. However, if you nibble the cookies into a square shape and scan it with your phone, you could enter an ER game where anyone could explore Steve's secret stash. By the way, as I mentioned earlier, Garrett is called the Garbage Man not because of his profession but because of Hunk City. The game where he becomes champion has a secret move called the garbage toss. First, you have to grab your opponent, spin them round and throw them into a garbage can. Unfortunately, all that fame eventually faded away. Garrett was left with no money, as shown by the official eviction notice delivered by the mailman. After accepting that he has no way to pay the rent, Garrett decided to go to the garage sale. There he meets his friend, Daryl, who says that in one of the garages there is a 1978 Atari Cosmos. And yes, this console is worth a lot of money in real life too. Just last year one sold for almost $26,000. When the bidding for the garage begins, the first person to raise the bid is Daniel Middleton, better known as DanTDM. He's an English Minecraft YouTuber who started his career back in 2010, and he still creates content today. This isn't Daniel's first appearance in Minecraft universe. In 2016, the 6th episode of Minecraft Story Mod titled The Portal to Mystery was released. In that episode, he played himself. Funnily enough, his hair color changed almost every scene. This was a reference to real life, where Daniel often dyed his hair different colors. In this shot, we can also see Jessica Bravura standing to the Daniel's left. She's better known as Afmo, an American YouTuber who creates Minecraft roleplay and animation content. She started her journey in 2012. In the white shot, Elizabeth is standing to the Garrett's left. We don't know her last name because she keeps it private, but you may know her as LD Shadow Lady. She's an English YouTuber who creates various Minecraft playthroughs. She's been doing this since 2010 and this is her second appearance in the Minecraft universe too. Her first was also in the 6th episode of Minecraft Story Mode. Yes, That episode featured many popular Minecraft YouTubers. The last person you may have recognized is Oliver Brotherhood, better known as Mambo Jumbo. He is an English Minecraft YouTuber known for his redstone builds and for playing on Hermitcraft, the most popular private Minecraft server. He started his career in 2012 and this is his first appearance in the Minecraft universe, although before this he was a frequent guest at Nkin and Minecraft Live. If you followed the movie's development, you may remember that another YouTuber was supposed to appear, Rachel Hofstetter, better known as Valkyrie. However, her cameo was cut. During filming, she claimed to have witnessed Mamo treating members of film crew badly. According to her, after an emotional scene, the actor began yelling at the crew because they had supposedly set up a shot incorrectly. There was no evidence beyond her statement, and neither Jason Momoa nor Warner Bros. Commented on the situation. Because of all this, the scene featuring Valkyrie was removed. Funnily enough, Mambo Jumbo got along perfectly well with Momoa, and even filmed a YouTube short with him for his channel. As it turned out, the garage being auctioned contained all belongings from Steve's house. We can tell from the blue shirts. The Atari box was partially empty, the console wasn't inside, but the Orb of Dominance and the Earth Crystal fell out of it. When Henry and Natalie arrives to Chuglas, we're shown a potato chip factory. It was designed with an impressive amount of detail. Of course, it isn't a real factory, but a little later, we even see Dawn meeting the group with a basket full of bags of chips. It's only mentioned briefly, but Henry and Natalie are orphans. Their mothers used to take care of them, but she apparently passed away. To make ends meet, the siblings moved to Chuglas, the potato capital. Henry is still in school and loves building robots, while Natalie gets a job as social media manager at the same potato chip factory. We don't know much about Dawn. All we know is that she works in real estate and runs a mobile petting zoo. When Henry meets Garrett and visits his store for the first time, we can see the Earth Crystal and, of course, the Orb of Dominance on the shelf near the consoles. It's very strange that the orb doesn't try to control Garrett by promising him fame and money, since he's clearly feeling down. But perhaps the Orb of Dominance do not have the power to influence the minds of people in our world. Then we're introduced to the Vice Principal for the first time, played by the one and only Stifler's Jennifer Coolidge. She tells Henry about her difficult family situation and how she divorced her husband, Clemente. We never see him, but if you watch the movie until the end, you can figure it out that he was Garrett's PE and art teacher. At one point, Henry decides to prove to his classmates that he knows his stuff when it comes to math and robotics, so he tries to build a fully functional jetpack. Everything was going great, but the bullies decide to cut a few wires. As a result, the jetpack crashed into the mascot of the potato chip factory. Viewers who bought a ticket to the movie through Fandango could also get the add-on featuring this jetpack basically for free. In the shot where we see Garrett's room, we can spot a stereo system with a cassette deck, radio and a CD player. It has stickers from Mortal Kombat, Stargate, Pac-Man, Marble Madness and a Sinister. These are all classic arcade games. At the bottom left, we can see some kind of robot. At first I thought it was an Omnibot, but it turns out to be just some cheap educational robot from China. To Garrett's right is the Coleco Super Action Controller, an upgraded gamepad released by Coleco for its ColecoVision home console in the early 1980s. At right next to Garrett's socks with the holes in them, we can spot a fairly rare pair of Vision Streetwear 14000s, also known as DV8s. These iconic skate shoes were released by Vision Streetwear in 1990. When Garrett and Henry returned to the store, they noticed the Orb of Dominance and the Earth Crystal. Another strange detail is that the artifacts came with instructions. Who wrote them? Steve? There didn't seem to be any instructions where he gave the bag to Dennis. Could Dennis have written them? I doubt Dennis could write anything with those paws. When the team of misfits, I didn't come up with the name, that's what they call themselves, finally entered the Overworld, were greeted by a beautiful landscape. This shot was shown in the teaser, but all the structures were removed to keep the mystery alive. Unexpectedly, a villager in a green robe was watching them. He waited for the group to leave and then jumped through the portal. In Minecraft, every villager in the village has a profession, or at least a calling. If a villager hasn't chosen one yet, they wear a brown robe and wait for the job site block to become available. This could be a composter, a smithing table, a fletching table, and so on. But some villagers can choose a profession even when a job site is available. They're called nitwits. They always wear green robes and have nothing to offer the player. There is a theory that nitwits eventually become wandering traders. If you look closely at their outfits, you can spot that same green robe underneath, and the terrible trades they offer might support this theory. Meanwhile, in the Nether, or more specifically inside the Bastion, there is some kind of sensor that can detect whether the Orb of Dominance is in the Minecraft world or not. The filmmakers also try to show what it feels like for every player entering Minecraft for the first time. game. Night suddenly falls, and monsters appear out of nowhere. We're shown skeletons and spider jockeys. Yes, that's a pretty rare sight when playing on a normal difficulty, but we can assume they're playing in a hardcore mode on a higher difficulty. After all, every skeleton had an enchanted bow. But if you look closely, you can see a full moon in the night sky. In Minecraft, moon phases affect many things. For example, slime spawn in the swamps during a full moon. During other phases, they only spawn in the slime chunks. The same applies to mobs. Skeletons and zombies have a higher chance of picking up weapons or items from the ground. They also have a higher chance of spawning with enchanted equipment, including enchanted weapons. Spiders can even spawn with potion effects. The filmmakers most likely took this detail into account. When Garrett falls into the pit, we're shown a 2D scene where he digs through the wall. We can see TNT, diamond ore, and gold ore. I don't want to be that guy, but this couldn't normally happen in the game. Diamonds generate very deep underground, while these are almost right beneath the surface. However, it's possible that Steve placed them there himself. Meanwhile, Henry discovers another core Minecraft mechanic, punching trees with his bare hands. When we first spawn into the game, our inventory is completely empty. So to make our first tools, we have to break a tree by hand. And because of the way the game works, the rest of the tree will, of course, remain floating in the air. It's an essential part of the gameplay. After that, we introduced to another mob, the Creeper, which has already become iconic. It behaves exactly like it does in the game, silently sneaking up on you at the worst possible moment before exploding. I understand that this was meant to make the scene scarier, but we're shown zombies attacking a defenseless pink sheep and tearing off its wool. It looks pretty disturbing. Thankfully, this doesn't happen in the game. Monsters don't attack farm animals. While escaping from the zombies, Garrett picks up the earth crystal from the ground, and as often happens, something goes wrong. A skeleton shoots at Garrett, but it hits the crystal instead, shattering it and causing the portal to stop working. Steve then explains that without the crystal, the Orb of Dominance can't open a portal. The only place where they can find another one is a woodland mansion. This is another structure from the original game, inhabited by illagers, those hostile villagers who choose the path of destruction. After that, the heroes head to the village of Midport, which was modeled after a Plains village from the game. We already saw this shot in the movie trailers, except for this house shaped like a statue of Dennis. That house was missing from the trailers. I probably don't need to explain that villages like this don't exist in vanilla Minecraft. Villages do come in different types, but they aren't nearly as diverse as this one. They don't have windmills either, though it's possible that Steve built all of this himself. Next, we get a closer look at the villagers. Our heroes are greeted by a leather worker, recognizable by his leather apron, and a farmer, whose straw hat immediately stands out. Behind them is an armorer, recognizable by the headband, and most likely an ordinary villager who hasn't chosen a profession yet. Right behind him is a wandering trader. He stands out from everyone else with his mysterious blue cloak and the green robe visible underneath. You usually can't find wandering traders in villages, or even while simply exploring the world. Their spawning mechanic works differently. Every 20 minutes, while the player is on the surface, there is a chance that wandering trader will appear within 48 blocks, along with 2 llamas. Behind the trader is a Fletcher. You can recognize him by his brown head with a chicken feather on the side. 2 baby villagers are walking beside him. And if you never played Minecraft, what I'm about to say may sound pretty wild. Villagers in Minecraft are complete pacifists. They never pick up weapons, which is why the arms are always folded. If they do try to use weapons, they become illagers, evil villagers who attack both players and other villagers. But their main feature, and something that applies to every mob in general, is that they're genderless. They're neither male nor female. So how do they reproduce? Animals enter what's known as love mode. The player gives 2 animals their favorite food, hearts appear, and their love creates a new baby animal. With villagers, things are a little more complicated. They need several beds, not for what you're thinking, some free space, food such as bread or vegetables, and willingness. Yes, villagers don't have love mode, they have willingness. If it's a clear day outside, a baby villager appear on an unclaimed bed. Baby villagers don't have professions and can't trade. Their only job while growing up is to run around and enjoy life. That's the whole mechanic. By the way, near the baby villagers we can spot another farm animal, a chicken. When chickens were first added to the game, players were pretty confused because they look like something between a chicken and a duck. When Nudge described them on his blog, he called them both chickens and ducks, but Jeb later confirmed that they were chickens. In the next shot we can see another villager, this time from a snowy village. He doesn't have a profession. That's something new, since villagers usually don't leave the village where they were born. A little later we get a closer look at the villagers and their farm, which is an essential part of every village. Here we can see watermelons, broccoli, carrots, cabbage, pumpkins, trees, apple trees, and even celery. Apple trees, broccoli, cabbage, and celery doesn't exist in the game. Instead, village farms can contain beetroot, wheat, and potatoes. Apples do exist, but they drop from trees after their leaves are broken. In the next shot, we get a better look at the Dennis-shaped house. We can also see another wandering trader, this time with a llama and another villager from the desert village. To his right is a cleric, recognizable by his purple robe. To everyone's surprise, a pig wearing a crown appears in the next shot. This is an obvious tribute to Technoblade. Technoblade was and still is one of the most famous and respected Minecraft YouTubers in the world. His Minecraft skin was a pig wearing a crown. He was known for his exciting PvP battles and carefully planned strategies, his crazy experiments on a high-pixel server, and of course his charisma, intelligence, and humor. He always said Technoblade never dies, but in August 2021 he announced that he had been diagnosed with cancer. He passed away in June 2022, and a video was uploaded to his channel in which his father read his final message. Someone wrote in the comments, "When someone dies from cancer, the cancer dies too. Techno never lost. It was a draw. Technoblade never dies." Now, if your YouTube interface is set to English and you search for Technoblade, YouTube will correct you and say, "Did you mean Technoblade never dies?" That's how a Minecraft movie honored the memory of this YouTuber. However, the idea was originally suggested by the Sebastian Hansen, the actor who plays Henry. Interestingly, this is the only pig we've seen in the entire movie, although other animals appear again later. A little farther away, an iron golem appears. Steve describes it as the village's security system, and that's true. Iron golems are direct protectors of villagers. They attack every hostile mob except creepers. They can even attack the player if they harm a villager. Any player can build one using 4 iron blocks and a carved pumpkin. A player-built golem won't attack you even if you harm a villager, but it will still protect you from hostile mobs. Iron golems also have a very strange spawning mechanic. As soon as a villager is in danger, one can suddenly appear out of nowhere. Because of this, many players build iron farms. They trap villagers inside an enclosed space and lure a zombie. When the villagers see it, they begin to panic and summon an iron golem. The golem then falls into lava and dies, leaving behind puppies and iron ingots. In the next shot, we can see Brown Llama and another villager with a profession, a librarian. You can recognize him by his book-shaped head. And yes, he sells enchanted books. Next, we're shown Steve's lava chicken. Simply put, it's an automatic chicken farm. The chickens are kept at the top, where they can breed, while lava sits in the middle. A chicken enters an enclosed space, gets set on fire, and leaves behind a fully cooked chicken. The same principle is used here, except the chicken is cooked with lava. Steve sends the redstone signal, activating the mechanism that releases the lava. Redstone is a mysterious material that can be mined deep underground. When placed, it can carry a signal that powers different mechanisms. Players have even used redstone to build fully functional computers inside the game. Steve then starts hitting the chicken jingle that everyone has already grown to love. You can even listen to it on Spotify and other streaming platforms. By the way, shortly after digital release, a music disc featuring this track even appeared in the game. It was composed by Hyper Potion. It's a remix of the original track done in style of an 8-bit melody. To get this music disc, the player needs to kill Chicken Jockey. At the end, a delicious lava chicken appears and it's extremely hot. They even released a free add-on for Bedrock Edition based on it. After eating the chicken, the player starts moving very quickly and leaves a trail of fire behind them. Meanwhile, in the Nether, Malosha gathered an army to invade the Overworld and summons her general, Chungus. This is his first appearance in the movie and he never appeared in the game, but his name is another meme reference. Big Chungus is one of the most absurd and popular internet memes. It features a fat, inflated version of Bugs Bunny from an old Looney Tunes cartoon. The word Chungus was created by journalist Jim Sterling back in 2012 as a meaningless funny word, but the Big Chungus meme itself went viral in 2018. Someone created a fake PS4 game case featuring Big Chungus, and that's where its popularity began. We're then shown the General Chungus drinking a potion. This time the potion is what protects the piglins from turning into zombies in the Overworld. In the game, they inhaled spores instead of drinking a potion. A little later, Steve shows us his secret stash, which is filled with all kinds of things. The first thing that stands out is a painting called Wanderer. This is a real painting created by Swedish artist Christopher Zetterstrand. He took his own paintings and slightly edited them to match Minecraft style. That's why they look pixelated in the game and contain different added elements. Funnily enough, the movie used the original real-life version of the painting. Here's another fun fact. Christopher is the brother of the Notch's first wife, with whom Notch has a daughter, although people seem to avoid mentioning mentioning this fact. Next, we see an armor stand holding a full set of golden armor. On the top shelf, we can spot some TNT. A little lower on the right is what appears to be a potion of strength, judging by its appearance, along with the jack-o'-lantern and what I believe is the heart of the sea. It does look a little like an ender pearl, but it isn't one. Ender pearls look completely different. Next, there is a book with a golden apple and a glistening melon slice on top of it. In the middle, we can see a candle and a leather helmet on some kind of miniature stand, which doesn't exist in the game. Then there is another golden apple, some magma blocks, a golden carrot, the best food in the game, a bundle, an elytra, possibly an amethyst shard, and some milk. On the next shelf, we can spot another interesting artifact on the left, the Boots of Swiftness. This artifact comes directly from Minecraft dungeons. When used, it gives the player a speed boost for a few seconds. There is also a regular apple besides them. Next is an enchanted diamond helmet. We can also see another potion, most likely a potion of swiftness judging by its color, followed by a potion of fire resistance and a small potion of water breathing. Then there are some books, another golden apple and a spyglass. On the lowest shelf there is a whole pile of golden carrots on the right, along with a lantern and a potato. Judging by its appearance, it might even be a poisonous potato. The third helmet is a turtle shell. When equipped, it gives the player the water breathing effect for 10 seconds. Don't worry, you don't need to kill turtles to get one. When baby turtles grow up, they drop scutes, which are used to craft the helmet. On the final shelf we can see firework rockets. Steve most likely uses them to travel. In survival mode we can't simply fly whenever we want. We need an elytra, but it only allows us to glide. Firework rockets gives us a boost, allowing us to fly. This was originally a bug, but the developers decided to keep it. A little lower down on the floor we can see hammers, some books, sacks and scrolls. Hammers and scrolls don't exist in the game. On the side we can spot a lectern, the essential job site block for every librarian villager. We'll see it again later. Besides everything we managed to spot ourselves, Steve shows us a diamond armor and an entire collection of swords, including golden, iron, stone and diamond swords. It looks like there might also be a netherite sword, but I seriously doubt it. After the instruction we get a closer look at the librarian. Steve most likely keeps him in a secret stash because he sells a mending book. This is one of the most valuable enchanted books in the game. Tools, armor and weapons in Minecraft all have durability. Over time, they can break from being used. That's where enchantments come in, or more specifically the mending book. Using an anvil, we combine a tool or piece of armor with the book and get an almost indestructible item. Whenever the player holds that item or wears the enchanted armor, the experience they collect goes toward repairing the item instead of increasing their experience level. Right behind the librarian, we can spot a painting of Dennis. A few months after a movie was released, the same painting appeared in the game. When Garrett opens the chest, we can see an ender pearl and even a totem of Undying inside. Totems are dropped by walkers found in the woodland mansions. A totem of Undying really does save the player from death while they're holding it, but it only works once. After that, it disappears. When Garrett picks up the ender pearl, Steve says it's the only one he has. Naturally, Garrett throws it and teleports. This mechanic also exists in the game, except throwing an ender pearl damages the player. For some reason, Garrett doesn't take any damage. But during the teleportation, we can spot an ender chest. This means we can assume that Steve managed to kill the blaze in the nether, because without doing that, he couldn't craft an Eye of Ender, an important ingredient in the ender chest recipe. The main feature of ender chests is that they let you access the same item from different dimensions. If you place one in the overworld and another in the nether, you can access your items from either dimension, which is extremely convenient. Steve then leads us to the crafting table. In the white shot we can see a furnace, a blast furnace, a full set of iron armor, some pickaxes, a barrel and an anvil. Crafting in this world works by placing items on a crafting grid and hitting them with a hammer, but it isn't as simple as it looks. The system is procedural. In other words, you can place any ingredients on a table, hit them with a hammer, and you're guaranteed to create something. That's unusual because none of the other Minecraft games have a mechanic like this. This theory is confirmed when Garrett randomly throws some iron ingots on the table and hits them, creating a pair of bucket chucks. Henry then decides to create something of his own and throws a 9-volt battery onto the table. This is actually another product placement. Ryovac is a real American battery brand. Its batteries are marketed as more powerful and long-lasting, especially for devices with high power consumption. Henry places the battery, iron ingots, an eraser, a paperclip, some sticks and a piece of a potato on the crafting grid. And yes, it actually creates a potato launcher. Even though firearms aren't allowed in Minecraft, this thing doesn't fall into the category because it fires chunks of potato. It even appeared in a free add-on for Bedrock Edition. Meanwhile, Natalie and Dawn go to buy a map from another villager. This time a cartographer. You can recognize him by his bag full of maps and his monocle. But at the moment we hear the village bell. In the game, this sound warns the pillagers are about to attack the village. In this case, however, it's the piglins. The next shot opens with piglins flying on gusts. It's a beautiful shot and really cool way to show them flying. Minecraft Legends was originally supposed to receive regular updates with new content. However, the game wasn't successful, and the developers ended support just 6 months after its release. Before support ended, they planned to add something similar to the game, allowing piglins to invade the world while riding gusts. Players loved this idea so much that developers decided to bring it into vanilla Minecraft, only in reverse. That's how happy gusts were added to the vanilla game. They're friendly and we can use them for our own purposes. After that, the village turns into a complete nightmare. Our heroes try to fight off the piglins in almost completely one-sided battle. In the end, the team of misfits splits up. When Steve and the other climb to the highest point in the village while trying to escape, they reach the edge of a cliff. At that moment, Steve pulls out an elytra. The problem is that it looks like it's made of iron. In the game, elytra are wing covers made from unknown material, and they can be crafted. They can only be found on an ant ship in the end. They can be repaired with the phantom membranes, but they're definitely not made of iron. As far as I can tell, Steve hasn't visited the end yet, so he couldn't have found the elytra there. I think he simply crafted it from iron, possibly by accident while experimenting with different recipes. A little later, as the group tries to escape the piglins using elytra, another gang of piglin riders is waiting for them on a mountain. They're riding hoglins, another hostile mob from the Nether. Piglins and hoglins live relatively peacefully together, and their babies even play with each other. But from time to time, adult piglins hunt hoglins. When the hunt is successful, the piglins perform a victory dance. You may not have noticed this while watching, but when one panda gives another piece of a bamboo and the other panda eats it, they enter love mud and a baby panda appears. Next, we're shown another unique game mechanic. Steve pours out a water bucket right before they land, preventing them from taking fall damage. This also works in the game. No matter how far a player falls, they'll survive if they land in water. But if you're skilled enough, you can place water beneath yourself a split second before landing. The game then registers it as if you landed in the water. This was originally a bug, but the developers later decided to keep it. Meanwhile, the girls are trying to escape in a boat, but the cartographer sails away in it. This might be a reference to how players constantly transport villagers to their own villages using boats. You can't simply ask villagers to follow you, and they can't move boats by themselves either. But the scene itself looks pretty funny. The movie then features a very unexpected cameo. While the vice principal and the nitwit villager are on a date, the waiter turns out to be Chap. His real name is Jens Bergensten, and he can be considered Minecraft's second creator. He has now stepped away from the game development and serves as chief creative officer. It was really nice to see him here. In the next scene, Steve tells us Malgosha's origin story and explains why she became who she is. Apparently, a long time ago, there was a talent show called Nether's Got Talent. I'm not joking. Malgosha performed a dance on a stage to Pigstep. Pigstep is a music disc from the game. The track was composed by Lina Rain, and it was the first new music disc added 9 years after the original discs. It sounds very different from the earliest ones, so players were initially unsure about it, but today it's considered iconic. It can be found in chests inside Bastion remnants. Malgosha danced to this song during the talent show, but the audience didn't appreciate her performance and laughed at her. Her father then forced her to give up on her dreams. Since that moment, any form of creativity has been forbidden in the Nether. Meanwhile, the potion wears off and the piglins begin turning into zombified versions. General Changos fails his mission, so Malgosha decides to summon the Great Hawk. But there is a problem here. Minecraft Legends, the game the movie borrowed most of the elements from, had exactly 4 main bosses: the Beast, the Devourer, the Great Hawk, and the Unbreakable. The Great Hawk was the final boss you had to defeat at the very end of the game. The Unbreakable was one of the 3 bosses you had to defeat before reaching the Great Hawk. However, the movie clearly shows us the Unbreakable, but for some reason calls it the Great Hawk. It's strange and I don't really understand why they made that decision. Meanwhile, somewhere in the forest, Natalie and Dawn encounter an aggressive wolf. In the game, wolves don't attack players unless they provoked, but apparently they do in the movie's universe. It turns out that when Malgosha ripped off Dennis's collar, Dennis was left without an owner. To calm the wolf down, Dawn gives Dennis a bone and tames the wolf again. A little later, the group enters a cave, and honestly, it looks very similar to the caves we have in the game. We can see redstone ore, gold ore, and of course, diamond ore. Garrett then accidentally steps on a pressure plate Technoblade, activating a trap with a dropper that fires cacti at him. It's genius and really cool, but unfortunately this doesn't work in the game, although the cactus itself does deal damage with its spikes. Garrett then activates another trap involving a slime block, which launches him into a wall and straight toward the lever that opens a set of piston doors. This hidden room contains a huge amount of diamonds. Apparently, Steve spent more than a few dozen days down in the mines. Next, we begin our journey to the Woodland Mansion. I understand that there is certain gameplay and story conventions, but just compare the mansion from the game to the one shown in the movie. They look completely different. The strangest part is the absence of the dark forest, since Woodland Mansion only generates in that biome. In the next scene, we can spot some Vindicators. They're a type of villagers that always carries an axe. Of course, there is no way to distract them in the game. They immediately attack the player, but Steve and Garrett put on mushroom hats and sing them a song, distracting them while Henry searches for the new crystal. We can also see another Christopher Zetterstrand painting in this scene called Burning Skull. As Henry runs through the corridors, we can spot another painting called Match, as well as the Evoker that drops the Totem of Undying. To Henry's left is another painting called The Stage is Set, but this time it's original real-life version. Funnily enough, we can also see Wanderer behind him. We already saw this painting in Steve's secret stash, but this time it has somehow been squished into 1x1 block space instead of its original 1x2 size. I think the set designers simply overlooked this detail. A little further ahead, we can see another painting called Fighters, which depicts two fighters from the game International Karate Plus. After escaping the Illagers, Henry enters a storage room. A room like this actually exists inside Woodland Mansion in the game. Meanwhile, it seems the Vindigators didn't enjoy Garrett and Steve sitting very much, so they take them to another room, the arena. This room also exists in the game, and many players have wondered what the Illagers actually do there. People came up with different theories, but there was never one clear answer. The filmmakers decided to answer the question themselves. This is where fights take place. Yes, this is the room where the famous chicken jockey scene happens, with Garrett fighting a chicken jockey. As soon as this scene appeared in the trailer, it instantly became a meme because of how absurd it was and the way Steve shouted the mob's name. This started a trend where people would jump out of their seats and scream along with Steve at the top of their lungs. Things quickly got out of hand. People began jumping around, throwing popcorn everywhere and recording it all to encourage others to do the same. Someone even brought a real chicken to the movie. Of course, this gave the movie plenty of publicity, but it also made the situation worse. Some theaters began warning audience before screening that this behavior wasn't allowed, and anyone who broke the rules could be removed from the theater. At one point, even Jack Black attended a screening and asked people not to make a mess and to behave a little more calmly. It didn't really help. People continued following the trend, so Warner Bros. Eventually gave in. Instead of abandoning it, they created special screenings where audience were allowed to scream, throw popcorn, and record themselves. Meanwhile, Henry managed to find the crystal, but unfortunately, it's guarded by another mob, an Enderman. Endermen don't actually spawn inside Woodland Mansions. They can be found at night in Overworld, inside Warp Forest in the Nether, and of course, in the end. They won't attack first unless the player hits them or makes direct eye contact, which is exactly what Henry does. This leads to what I think is the coolest scene in the entire movie. Henry falls into some kind of a trance where his friends and loved ones tell him that he is a loser. But while Garrett and Natalie have purple eyes in this vision, Steve's eyes are completely white. This is an unmistakable reference to Herobrine. Herobrine is Minecraft's most famous creepypasta. It first appeared all the way back in 2010. The story claimed that a player had spotted someone else inside his single-player world. When he tried to approach the mysterious player, they ran away. The player then began finding strange things around his world. Trees without leaves, pyramids, perfectly shaped 2x2 tunnels, and torches placed by someone else. According to the creepypasta, Herobrine was not just that brother, who had somehow entered the game's code. The story became so popular that even the developers began playing along with the community. They wrote removed Herobrine in update changelogs, added him to posters, and talked about him. But eventually, Notch confirmed that he had never had a dead brother. But at that point, however, the player's imagination could no longer be stopped. Of course, the entire story was made up. Herobrine never existed. Funnily enough, one of the filmmakers claimed that every character in Henry's vision was supposed to have purple eyes. Steve's eyes only turned white because of a rendered mistake. There wasn't enough time to fix it, so they decided to leave it in. Of course, that's exactly what we thought. I definitely do. In the end, Henry defeats the Enderman and obtains an Ender Pearl. In another scene, when Steve and Henry reunite with Natalie and Dawn, Steve runs out of an improvised mushroom-shaped house. I'm not sure whether this was an intentional reference, but there is a series of official Minecraft books filled with different mini-builds, and the first book features a very similar mushroom-shaped house. Malosha eventually managed to steal the Earth Crystal and the Orb of Dominance to carry out the evil plan. This was taken directly from Minecraft Legends. In that game, she also ordered piglins to create a device that would cover the overworld in complete darkness. They placed the Orb of Dominance inside an empty cube and created a night beacon. This time, they do the same thing, and the overworld becomes completely dark. Nether wart beings growing out of the Nether portal and releases spores that prevent the piglins from turning into zombies. Meanwhile, our team of misfits decides to unite and fight back against evil. Steve then says,
First we mine, then we craft. Let's Minecraft!
this is the first time the game's name is actually spoken in the movie. After that, the battle preparation begins. The group smelts iron to craft iron blocks, which then they use to create iron golems. Meanwhile, Malosha is already prepared for battle. To stop her from turning into a zombie, 2 piglins stand beside her and, as far as I can tell, spray her with the nether wart spores. When the group creates the iron golems, they place the boots of swiftness on top instead of a carved pumpkin. Rather than creating a regular golem, they summons the super iron golem, their leader. This character was created specifically for the movie. It has all the same abilities as a regular iron golem, but it can move extremely fast and jump incredibly high. There is no point in retelling the entire movie, and nothing particularly unusual happened during the final battle that requires an explanation. As expected, the team of misfits succeeded. They defeated Malosha and her piglin army. In the scene where the group says goodbye, we can spot another villager wearing an eye patch in the background. He is a toolsmith. Honestly, until this moment, I had somehow never noticed that he was missing an eye. Back on Earth, the group remained friends and even helped Garrett with his business. Natalie painted an arcade cabinet showing the team of misfits as Minecraft skins. They also created a new game called Block City Battle Buddies, a beat 'em up where the characters fight piglins. Henry builds the circuit boards for the arcade machine, allowing him to continue doing what he loves. In the end, every member of the team begins doing what they enjoy most. By the way, in one of the scenes showing Natalie's students, we can spot Trophy Franz Olofsson, one of the movie's producers. Meanwhile, the Nitwit villager somehow learns to speak the human language, while the vice principal learns to speak like a villager. The Nitwit even asks her to marry him, and she accepts. It will be interesting to see her reaction when the Wither Night arrives, considering that villagers are still genderless. The movie ends with a post-credit scene. Steve happily returns to his old house to collect some of his belongings, but the door is opened by Alex. She has her iconic red hair, green shirt and brown pants. Yes, the thing is that Steve was once the only character in the game, and he was male. Alex was added to give players another option. She isn't just a second character with a different skin, she has an entirely different model with much slimmer arms. Funnily enough, Alex was actually based on Jens Bergensten. The developers themselves confirmed this. Phew, that was a lot. I understand that there are probably some details I missed, overlooked or simply didn't know about, so feel free to correct me in the comments. I like your comment and together we can make this video even more informative. I hope I managed to answer most of your questions. Stay tuned for the sequel to Minecraft movie Squared coming next year, and once it releases, I'll do my best to tell you more. And we'll get to know Alex better, who will be played by Kirsten Dunst, while also meeting some old friends again. Hopefully they'll visit the end this time. What do you think of the movie? Do you like it or not? Please let me know in the comments. While you're waiting for my next video, you can watch these two. They're also interesting. Subscribe to this channel, leave a like and hit the bell. We'll hear from each other again because we continue discovering Minecraft in a whole new way.